today. And beginning again tomorrow on the first. Well, I think we'll finish it today. No, yeah, pretty sure. All right. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakti Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakti Vrinda.
Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Ki Jai Srila Om Vishnupadi A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All right. Haribo. So now we are on the, of course, final verse, or final chapter of the Antya-Lila, chapter 20. And we are reading from verse 103. And yesterday, the last verse we read. Now let me repeat all the pastimes of the Antya-Lila, for if I do so, I will taste the pastimes again. Pratama parichede rupera titiya milana charamajje dui natakera vidana shravana. The first chapter describes how Rupa Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the second time, and how the Lord heard his two dramas, the Vidagdha Madhava and the Lalita Madhava. Taramajje Shivananda Shange Kukura Aila Prabhutare Krishna Kaha Namukta Kadila. That chapter also describes the incident of Shivananda Sen's dog, who was induced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to chant the holy name of Krishna and was thus liberated. Dvitiye Chota Haridasa Karaila Shikshana Taramajje Shivanandera Ascharya Darshana. The second chapter tells how the Lord instructively punished Junior Haridas. Also in that chapter is a description of the wonderful vision of Shivananda Sen. Tritiye Haridasera Mahima Pachanda Damodara Pandit Kaila Prabhurevakya Danda. In the third chapter is a description of the forceful glories of Haridas Thakur. That chapter also mentions how Damodar Pandit spoke words of criticism to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhu Nama Diya Kaila Brahmananda Mochan Haridasa Karila Namera Mahima Stapana. The third chapter also tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered everyone by bestowing upon the universe the holy name of the Lord. And it describes how Haridas Thakur established the glories of the holy name by his practical example. Chaturte Sri Sanatanera Ditya Milana Dehatyaga Haite Tarakarila Rakshana. The fourth chapter describes Sanatana Goswami's second visit with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how the Lord saved him from committing suicide. Jaishtamasera dupe tare kaila prarikshana Shaki Sanchariya Puna Pataila Vrindavan. The fourth chapter also tells how Sanatana Goswami was tested in the sunshine of Jaishta, May-June, and was then empowered and sent back to Vrindavan. Panchame Pradyumna Mishre Prabhu Kripa Karila Raya Dwara Krishna Katha Tare Shunaila. The fifth chapter tells how the Lord showed his favor to Pradyumna Mishra and made him hear topics of Krishna from Ramananda Rai. Taramajje Bangala Kavira Nataka Upekshana Swarupa Gosai Kaila Vigrahera Mahimastapana. That chapter also describes how Swarup Damodar Goswami rejected the drama of a poet from Bengal and established the glories of the deity. Sate Raghunatha Dasa Prabhure Milila Nityananda Agyaya Chitta Mahotsava Kaila. The 6th chapter describes how Raghunath Das Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and performed the Chip Rice Festival in accordance with Nityananda Prabhu's order. Damodara Swarupatayi Tada Samarpila Govardhana Shila Gunjamala Tare Dila. That chapter also tells how the Lord entrusted Raghunath Das Goswami to the care of Swarup Damodar Goswami and gave Raghunath Das the gift of a stone from Govardhan Hill and a garland of small conch shells. Saptama Parichede Balababatera Milana Nanamate Kaila Tara Garba Kandana. The 7th chapter tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Balabhabata and dismantled his false pride in various ways. Astame Ramachandra Purira Agamana Tara Bhaye Kaila Prabhu Biksha Shankochana. The 8th chapter describes the arrival of Ramachandra Puri and how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu minimized his eating due to fear of him. So this word fear is being used in the sense of his, of course, Mahaprabhu's Mahaprabhu's doing his duty. Navame Gopinatha Patanayaka Mochana Trijagatera Loka Prabhura Paila Darashana. In the 9th chapter is a description of how Gopinath Patanayaka was delivered and how the people of the 3 worlds were able to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dashame Kahilu Bhakta Datta Asvadana Raghava Panditera Taha Jalira Sajana. In the 10th chapter, I've described how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tasted the food given by his devotees. And I have also described the assortment of prasadam in the bags of Raghava Pandit. Taramajje Govindera Kaila Parikshana Taramajje Parimunda Nrichera Varnana. In that chapter is a description of how the Lord examined Govinda and how he danced in the temple. Ekadashe Haridasa Thakurera Niryana Bhaktavatsalya Jaha Dekaila Gaura Bhagavan. The 11th chapter describes the disappearance of Haridas Thakur and how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, showed his affection for his devotees. Dvadashe Jagadanande Rataila Banjana Nityananda Kaila Shivanande Retadana. In the 12th chapter are descriptions of how Jagadananda Pandit broke a pot of oil and how Lord Nityananda chastised Shivananda Sena. Trayodashe Jagadananda Mathura Jayaila Mahaprabhu Deva Dashira Gita Shunila. The 13th chapter tells how Jagadananda Pandit went to Mathura and returned and how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by chance, heard a song sung by a Devadasi dancing girl. Raghunatha Bhattacharya Tahani Milana Prabhutade Kripakari Pataila Vrindavana. Also in the 13th chapter is an account of how Raghunath Bhatta met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who by his causeless mercy sent him to Vrindavan. Chaturdashe Divyonmada Aramba Varnana Sharira Eta Prabhura Managela Vrindavana. The 14th chapter describes the beginning of the Lord's spiritual trance, in which his body was at Jagannath Puri, but his mind was in Vrindavan. Taramajje Prabhura Singhadware Patana Asti Sandhi Tyaga Anubhavera Udgama. Also in that chapter is a description of how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell down in front of the Singhadwar gate of the Jagannath temple. His bones separated at the joints, and how various transcendental symptoms awakened in him. Chattaka Parvata Deki Prabhura Davana Tara Madhye Prabhura Kichu Pralapa Varnana. Also in that chapter is a description of how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ran toward the Chatak Parvat and spoke like a madman. Panchadasha Parichede Ujjana Bilase Vrindavana Brahme Jahan Karila Praveshe. In the 15th chapter is a description of how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered a garden on the seashore and mistook it for Vrindavan. Taramajje Prabhura Panchendriya Akarshana Taramajje Karila Rase Krishna Anveshana. And also in that chapter is a description of the attraction of Lord Chaitanya's five senses to Krishna, and how he searched for Krishna in the rasa dance. Shodoshe Kalidase Prabhu Kripa Karila Vaishnavo Chista Kaibara Pala de Kaila. The 16th chapter tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his mercy to Kalidas and thus demonstrated the result of eating the remnants of the food of the Vaishnavas. Shivanandera Balake Shloka Karaila Singhadware Dwari Prabhure Krishna de Kaila. It also describes how Shivananda's son composed a verse and how the doorkeeper of the Singhadwar showed Krishna to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprasadera taha mahima varnila Krishna dharmamritera pala shloka asvadila. Also in that chapter, the glories of Mahaprasadam are explained, and a verse is tasted describing the effect of nectar from the lips of Krishna. Saptadashe Gabimache Prabhura Patana Kumakara Anubhavera Tahani Udgama. The 17th chapter recounts how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell among the cows and assumed the form of a tortoise as his ecstatic emotions awakened. Krishnera Shabdagune Prabhura Mana Akarshila Kashyangate Shlokera Artha Aveshe Karila. That chapter also describes how the attributes of Krishna's sound attracted the mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who then described in ecstasy the meaning of Kashyangate verse. Bhava sabalye puna kaila pralapana karnamrita shlokera arta kaila vivarana. The 17th chapter also tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, due to the conjunction of various ecstatic emotions, again began speaking like a madman and described in detail the meaning of a verse from the Krishna Karnamrita. Ashtadasa parichede samudre patana Krishna gopi jala kelitaha darashana. In the 18th chapter is an account of how the Lord fell into the ocean and in ecstasy saw in a dream the pastimes of a water fight between the Krishna and the gopis. Tahani dekila Krishnera vanya bojana Jalia Uttaila Prabhuaila Swabhavana. In that dream, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Krishna's picnic in the forest. As Lord Chaitanya floated in the sea, a fisherman caught him, and then the Lord returned to his own residence. All this is recounted in the 18th chapter. Unavingse bitye prabhura mukha sangashana Krishnera viraha spurti pralapa varnana. In the 19th chapter is a description of how Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rubbed his face against the walls and spoke like a madman because of separation from Krishna. Vasanta ranjani te pushpo jane viharana Krishnera saurabhya shlokera artha vivarana. That chapter also describes Krishna's wandering in a garden on a spring night, and it fully describes the meaning of a verse about the scent of Krishna's body. Vamsa parichede nija shiksha shtaka padila Ara arta asvadila prema vishtanya. The 20th chapter tells how Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited his own 8 stanzas of instruction and tasted their meaning in ecstatic love, which we're reading now. Bhakte shikaite che shikshastaka kahila se shlokasta kera arta puna asvadila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu composed those 8 stanzas to instruct the devotees, but he also personally tasted their meaning. Mukhya mukhya lilara arta karilunkatana anuvada haite smare granta vivarana. I have thus repeated the principal pastimes and their meaning, for by such repetition one can remember the descriptions in the book. Eka eka paricheda derakata aneka prakara mukhya mukhya kahilunkata najaya vistara. In every chapter there are various topics, but I have repeated only those that are principal, for not all of them could be described again. Shri Radha Saha Shri Madana Mohana Shri Radha Saha Shri Govinda Charana Shri Radha Saha Shri La Shri Gopinata Etina Takurahai Gaudiyaranata. The Vrindavan deities of Madan Mohan with Srimati Radharani, Govinda with Srimati Radharani, and Gopinath with Srimati Radharani are the life and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Yuta Nityananda Shri Advaita Acharya Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Swarupa Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Shri Guru Shri Ragana Shri Jiva Charan Nija Shri Dari E Shabara Charan Jaha Haite Haya Shobha Vanchita Purana. So that my desires may be fulfilled, I place the lotus feet of these personalities on my head. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Lord Nityananda, Advaita Charya and their devotees, as well as Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, who is my spiritual master, and Srila Jiva Goswami. Purport: Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was the instructing spiritual master of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and has therefore been mentioned as Sri Guru. Shabara Charana Kripa Guru Upadhyay Moravani Shishyatare Bahuta Nachai. The mercy of their lotus feet is my spiritual master, and my words are my disciples, whom I have made dance in various ways. The mercy of their lotus feet, of all those personalities, is my spiritual master, and my words are my disciples, whom I have made to dance in various ways. Upadhyaya or Upadhyaya refers to one who teaches when approached. Upadya adiyate asmat. In the Manu Samhita it is said, Ekadesham tu vedasya vedanganyapi vapuna jojapatyati vrityartam upadhyaya sa uchate. One who teaches others a part of the Vedas or literature supplementary to the Vedas may be called upadhyaya. Upadhyaya also refers to one who teaches art. Sisyara shramadeki gurunachana rakila kripanana chaya vani bhashya rahila. So he's using, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj is using upadhyaya to describe that they are all my gurus. And he's also upadhyaya because he's teaching his words. His disciples are his words, and they're dancing. Seeing the fatigue of the disciples, the spiritual master has stopped making them dance. And because that mercy no longer makes them dance, my words now sit silently. Anipana vani apane nachite na jane, jatana chaila nachi karila bishrame. My inexperienced words do not know how to dance by themselves. The mercy of the Guru made them dance as much as possible, and now after dancing, they have taken rest. Shabashota ganera kari charana vandana, shansabara charana kripa, shubera karana. I now worship the lotus feet of all my readers, for by the mercy of their lotus feet, there is all good fortune. Chaitanya Charitamrita Jai Janna Shune Taracharana Dungha Karo Munyipane. If one hears the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, I wash his lotus feet and drink the water. Shotara padarenu karo mastaka bhushana tomara e amrita pile shapala haila shrama. I decorate my head with the dust of the lotus feet of my audience. Now you have all drunk this nectar, and therefore my labor is successful. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Padejara Asha Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishnadas. praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Charitam amritam etat Srila Chaitanya Vishnu Shubhadadam asubhanasi shradaya svadayetyaya Tadamala pada padme bringatam etya soyam rasayati rasamuchai prema madvikapuram. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is filled with the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. It invokes all good fortune and destroys everything inauspicious. If one tastes the nectar of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita with faith and love, I become like a bumblebee, tasting the honey of transcendental love from His lotus feet. If one tastes the nectar of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita with faith and love, I become like a bumblebee, tasting the honey of transcendental love from His lotus feet. My gosh. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is filled with the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. It invokes all good fortune and destroys everything inauspicious. If one tastes the nectar of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita with faith and love, I become like a bumblebee tasting the honey of transcendental love from His lotus feet. Shriman Madana Gopala Govinda Deva Tushtaye Chaitanyarpitam astvetach Chaitanya Charitamritam. Since this book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, is now complete, having been written for the satisfaction of the most opulent deities, Madan Mohanji and Govindaji, let it be offered at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dev. Parimala Vashita Bhuvanam Srarason Madita Rasagya Rolambam Giridhara Charanam Bojam Kakalu Rasika Samihate Hatum. Realized devotees are like bumblebees maddened by their own mellows at Sri Krishna's lotus feet. The scent of those lotus feet perfumes the entire world. Who is the realized soul that could give them up? Shake Sinvagni Vanendao Jaiste Vrindavanantare Suryate Shita Pancham Yam Granto Yang Purnatam Gatha. In Vrindavan, in the year 1537 Shakabda era, that is 1615 AD, in the month of Jaishta, May-June, on Sunday, the 5th day of the waning moon, this Chaitanya Charitamrita has been completed. Thus in the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-Lila 20th chapter, describing the meaning of the Shikshastaka and how the Lord tasted it Himself. End of the Antya-Lila. Goodness. So we are so fortunate. Srila Gurudev, without any endeavor, acquired that house where Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita was written. And that is very close to Sri Govindaji temple, just across the road and around the corner, like really a few minutes walking. And then he also, that piece of land across the road was also given to Srila Gurudev without his endeavor, that shares the very same well as I wasn't Govinda. She Radha Damodar temple, and in the courtyard of that temple is the Samadhi Mandir of Srila Rupa Goswami. It's just an inconceivable, wondrous place. And so we have, that is where the temple is in Vrindavan, and Srila Gurudev did not endeavor for that. He thought that he should get a place out a little far away from that area. That he should get something a little far away, but then that place was destroyed, and he thought, oh, what is the Lord's will? So he waited, and then the phone in Navadvip was not working at all. And once in a while he would pick it up for some time because it wasn't working. And then, well, no, to see if there was a dial, to see if it would come on as a dial tone. I mean, no one could call, but when he picked it up, there was someone there saying, "This land is available, and I want you to have it." Everyone wanted it. It's the center of Vrindavan. It is you could say, the heart of Vrindavan. And he said, "I have no man, and I have no money." He said, "Don't worry about that. I'll manage everything. And you just send your man here, one man, and all the legal things will be arranged by me. And you'll get that. I want you to have it. You have a few days that you can get this, and so I want you to get it." And that happened. Wow. So that Krishnadas Kaviraj building is right there. And the devotees take prasadam there, take rest there.
Until the date?
Huh?
Until the date? Is there a Sri Chaitanya Saraswat temple there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you been there?
Huh?
Have you been there?
Many times, yeah. Hare Krishna. And Keshavananda Prabhu was taking care of that temple for a long time. Especially from Kartik on, to when all the devotees would go there, and he would take care of everybody. And so we went a lot. Very amazing. Completely amazing. Well, we're not amazed enough, but we're starting to be amazed. Then there's a very, very nice concluding words here. So I would like to read those words. There's the words of Srila Prabhupada. Today, Sunday, November 10th, 1974, corresponding to the 10th Kartik Chaitanya era 488, the 11th day of the dark fortnight, the Rama Akadashi. We have now finished the English translation of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in accordance with the authorized order of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj, my beloved eternal spiritual master, guide, and friend. Although according to material vision, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada passed away from this material world on the last day of December 1936, I still consider His Divine Grace to be always present with me by His Vani, His words. There are two ways of association, by Vani and by Vapu. Vani means words and Vapu means physical presence. Physical presence is sometimes appreciable and sometimes not, but Vani continues to exist eternally. Therefore, we must take advantage of the Vani, not the physical presence. The Bhagavad Gita, for example, is the Vani of Lord Krishna. Although Krishna was personally present 5,000 years ago and is no longer physically present from the materialistic point of view, the Bhagavad Gita continues. Follow that. The Vani is more important than Vapu. To hear the words of our gurus is very important, and that will go on. Even if they leave the world, that they are still present in his words. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, he reasons ill who says that Vaishnavas die, for you are living still in sound. In this connection, we may call to memory the time when I was fortunate enough to meet His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada sometime in the year 1922. Srila Prabhupada had come to Calcutta from Sridham Mayapur to start the missionary activities of the Gaudiya Math. He was sitting in a house at Ultadanga when, through the inducement of an intimate friend, the late Sriman Narendranath Mulak, I had the opportunity to meet His Divine Grace for the first time. I do not remember the actual date of the meeting, but at that time, I was one of the managers of Dr. Bosch's laboratory in Calcutta. I was a newly married young man, addicted to Gandhi's movement, and dressed in khadi. Fortunately, even at our first meeting, His Divine Grace advised me to preach the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English in the Western countries. Can you imagine? The first time. Because at that time I was a complete nationalist, a follower of Mahatma Gandhi's, I submitted to His Divine Grace that unless our country were freed from foreign subjugation, no one would hear the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seriously. Of course, we had some argument on the subject, but at last I was defeated and convinced that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message is the only panacea for suffering humanity. I was also convinced that the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was then in the hands of a very expert devotee, and that surely the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would spread all over the world. I cannot, however, immediately take up his instructions to preach, but I took his words very seriously and was always thinking of how to execute his order, although I was quite unfit to do so. In this way, I passed my life as a householder until 1950, when I retired from family life as a vanaprastha. With no companion, I loitered here and there until 1958, when I took sannyas. Then I was completely ready to discharge the order of my spiritual master. Previously, in 1936, just before His Divine Grace passed away at Jagannath Puri, I wrote him a letter asking what I could do to serve him. In reply, he wrote me a letter dated 13th December 1936, ordering me in the same way to preach in English the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as I had heard it from him. After he passed away, I started the fortnightly magazine Back to Godhead sometime in 1944 and tried to spread the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through this magazine. After I took sannyas, a well-wishing friend suggested that I write books instead of magazines. Magazines, he said, might be thrown away, but books remain perpetually. Then I attempted to write Srimad Bhagavatam. Before that, when I was a householder, I had written on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and it completed about 1,100 pages. But somehow or other, the manuscript was stolen. In any case, when I had published Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, in 3 volumes in India, I thought of going to the U.S. by the mercy, to the USA by the mercy of His Divine Grace. In any case, when I had published Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, in 3 volumes in India, I thought of going to the USA. By the mercy of His Divine Grace, I was able to come to New York on September 17th, 1965.
And this is Srila
This is all, exactly 60 years ago, almost exactly to the day.
Is there a festival day for that?
Huh?
I said, is there a festival day for that?
Not really.
It should be.
Since then, I have translated many books, including Srimad Bhagavatam, the Upadesamrta Sindhu, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya as a summary, and many others. In the meantime, I was induced to translate the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and publish it in an elaborate version. In his leisure time in later life, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would simply read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. It was his favorite book. He used to say that there would be a time when foreigners would learn the Bengali language to read the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. The work on this translation began about 18 months ago. In 18 months, he did this. That's inconceivable. Guru Maharaj said it's not human. What Srila Prabhupada did is not a human accomplishment. It's not possible. In 18 months, a year and a half, he did all of this. It's beyond conceiving. Now, by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, it is finished. In this connection, I have to thank my American disciples, especially Sriman Pradyumna Das Adhikari, Sriman Nitai Das Adhikari, Sriman Jaya Dvaita Das Brahmachari, and many other boys and girls who are sincerely helping me in writing, editing, and publishing all those literatures. I think that His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is always seeing my activities and guiding me within my heart by his words. As it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. Spiritual inspiration comes from within the heart. Divya Gyan Hride Prakashito. Wherein the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His Paramatma feature is always sitting with all His devotees and associates. It is to be admitted that whatever translation work I have done is through the inspiration of my spiritual master, because personally I am the most insignificant and incompetent to do this materially impossible work. So he's giving all credit to his guru. And this is we have to meditate on these things. I do not think myself a very learned scholar, but I have full faith in the service of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. If there is any credit to my activities of translating, it is all due to His Divine Grace. Certainly, if His Divine Grace were physically present at this time, it would have been a great occasion for jubilation. But even though He is not physically present, I am confident that He is very much pleased by this work of translation. He was very fond of seeing many books published to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. Therefore, our society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, has been formed to execute the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It is my wish that the devotees of Lord Chaitanya all over the world enjoy this translation, and I am glad to express my gratitude to the learned men in the Western countries who are so pleased with my work that they are ordering in advance all my books that will be published in the future. So Srila Prabhupada here is praising those who are tasting and appreciating such a wonderful thing as Chaitanya Charitamrita. and so much so that they're ordering all future publications. On this occasion, therefore, I request my disciples who are determined to help me in this work to continue the cooperation fully, so that philosophers, scholars, religionists, and other people in general all over the world will benefit by reading our transcendental literatures such as Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita dated November 10th, 1974 at the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, Hare Krishna Land, Juhu, Bombay. Haribol. Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj ki jai. Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Haribol. Very wonderful. So now we can read from Upadesamrta, chant the verses, and read from the commentary by Srila Guru Maharaj. Maybe I think today we'll just go straight to the commentary. I think so. And then we are so excited because this commentary is there's much more of it. It's really a wonderful thing.
Yes, yesterday we were reading about Kama and Prema.
Yes, very good.
What else were we reading before that?
It was very much about that. Yesterday, you mean?
Oh, we were reading that service brings more service.
Oh, yes. Yes. The salary. The salary for service is service.
And then Srila Guru Maharaj started talking about the reflection of that.
Tree.
Brings more reaction.
What was that?
The reflection of prema, which is lust, instead of bringing more sweetness, it brings like more suffering.
That's true. And there's another expression that Srila Guru Maharaj, it was Srila Gurudev. He said the more material sensation there is, the more reaction. So we're not trying to seek out these things. But everything can be used for the Lord's service. And so married life is there. And so many things like that. But we have to be, whatever it is what it's going to be. We have to make this a very good, proper offering. Jai Shri Shri Upadesamrita ki, Jai Srila Rupa Goswami ki, Jai. This is now page 272 in the center of the page. Thank you, Prabhu, for being so attentive and for recapping that. It's really great. Very good. Jai. In Brihad Bhagavatamrita we find that in the course of realization of Shuddha Bhakti, Devarshi Narada visits different places. First he encounters the Karma Mishra Bhakti. Narad visits a Brahmin, a wealthy man in Prayag, on the occasion of the Kumbh Mela. The Brahmin had arranged for services to the different kinds of sadhus there, a yagya, fire sacrifice, and finally he finished this function with Sankirtan. The Brahmin was mainly engaged according to the Karma Kanda, but he did perform some sadhu seva, and his finishing touch was with Nam Sankirtan. So, of course, this book is beginning with devotion, but it is something, and more going to Shuddha Bhakti. Devarshi Narada approached the gentleman. You are very fortunate that you are doing these things. This is the proper utilization of your money and your caste. By engaging in such holy activities, you are certainly very fortunate. The Brahmin told him, what am I doing? This is nothing. You should go to see the fortune of Indrajumna Maharaj. He is distributing the prasadam of Jagannath in a grand style. How grand is the worship of Narayan there. Go there and you will appreciate him. Devarshi Narada went there, and he found the king extensively engaging with all his resources in the worship of Jagannath. Narada approached him. You are so fortunate in this world. The king told him, what can I do? This is nothing. If you want to see how devotion should be practiced, you should go to Indra, the king of Swarga. Narada Muni went to Indra and praised him. Oh, Indra, you are very fortunate. Vamanadeva appeared as your younger brother. And here in Indraloka, there are always festivals for worship of Krishna. Indra said, oh, what are you saying? What love do I have for Krishna? Everything belongs to him, but in my foolishness, I tried to prevent him from taking the Parijata tree from heaven. Not only that, but I'm always being attacked by the demons, and my wife is also sometimes disturbed. What fortune do you find in me? From Indra, Devarshi Narada went to Brahma, and there he found Karma Mishra Bhakti in its highest campaign. There are so many Shrutis who are speaking in praise of Brahma. You are most fortunate. Narada was Brahma's son and disciple, and Narada told him, how great you are, how fortunate you are. You are entrusted by Narayan himself with the management of the whole Brahmanda, universe, and sometimes you visit him for guidance in the administration of the Brahmanda. You are so fortunate, and in the Shrutis we find some portions which are engaged in singing your glory. Brahma felt a little disturbed. He was dissatisfied with the praise of Narada, because the nature of a Vaishnava is that they cannot tolerate their own praise. They know fully well that praise is only due to the Supreme. They know they are praised because they've got some sort of connection with the Supreme Entity, so they do not like their own praise, and they cannot relish it. I am so low. It is only because I have come in connection with such a high entity that I have whatever good position I may be in. And if I in any way treat it as my own, then I will be deprived. Means it will be taken away from me. Everything belongs to my master. So naturally a Vaishnava sincerely won't like any praise of themselves. They know fully whatever is good in them does not belong to them. So Brahma, dissatisfied, rebuked Narada. What are you saying, Narada? You are pumping me up with pride. Have I not taught you that I am nothing and my master is everything? I'm just a small creature in the hand of Narayan, and I am engaged in external activity. I have no time to give to the interest of my devotional life. If you want to discriminate about devotion, then you can see that I am busy in the relativity of the material world, but Mahadev, Shiva, is really to be praised. This means Sadashiva, not the one who is so-called worshipped by the smoking of ganja or marijuana. This is speaking of Sadashiva, beyond the material world. My Lord has rather deceived me by engaging me in such a busy matter of managing the Brahmanda. I'm not so fortunate. You should go to Mahadev. He does not care for anything in this world. He is aloof and indifferent, and he has his aim toward Narayan. His devotion is toward Ramachandra in particular, and he's very fond of Ramanam. Parvati Devi is also helping him in his devotional life, and she is very happy. You will find much praise of the Vedas in the Vedas of Mahadev. And so we can stop here. But this was just a short summary of the Briha Bhagavatam, and it will go on. So we're so lucky. We're hearing this beautiful purport to the 10th verse of the Upadesamrta, taken from various places actually, but still very much pertinent and well chosen. And given now we've heard the summary of so many, the whole Ramananda Samvad, and now we're hearing the whole Brihad Bhagavatamrita being summarized by Srila Guru Maharaj. So we're just very fortunate to be able to hear this from the words, the Vani of our Sri Gurudev. Jai Srila Rupa Goswami Pad Ki, Jai Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki, Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki, Jai Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. My goodness, how fortunate we are. Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Srimadhusuda Giridhari Gopinath Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Hey Jai Gosai Gauri Charana Vanda Jai Vignana Savista Hey Jai Gosai Jamui Sarada Hey Jai. What?
I forgot the.
Oh, sorry. I thought I made a mistake, but I couldn't think what it was. Hey Jai Gosai Jamui Sarada Tansabara Pararenu Mor Panchagra Tandira Charana Sevi Bhakta Saneva Janame Janame More Saparika Shri Shri Guru Gaurachandra Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Pari Brajakacharya. Astatar Siddha Shri Sriman Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindade Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Pari Brajakacharya. Astatar Siddha Shri Sriman Srila Bhakti Rakak Shri Darde Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Charja Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Saparshad Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Tadiya Saka Mat Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Ki Jai. Kol Kartal Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol Jai. Another festival in Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Day Ki Jai. Jai Mahaprabhu Jai Guru Ki Jai. Hari Bol. Jai Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Jai Jai.
We have a comment by Vimakrishna Prabhu. He says, this Sri Upadesamrita is so beautiful. Everything is there.
Which the Brihad Bhagavatamrita?
No, this Sri Upadesamrita.
Ah.
So beautiful. Everything is there.
Jai Bhima. Bhima Prabhu is really, really inspiring. He's so much appreciating Upadesamrita.
Yeah. Shantadil is present. And also Kyo has a couple questions.
Okay.
Is there a different name at each initiation? One Harinam, two Puja, three Sannyas, Sadhu, or for an individual?
What was the last part?
Or for an individual. He's asking is there a different name at each initiation? Harinam, Puja, Sannyas.
Well, there's Harinam and then there's Diksha, meaning the Gayatri mantra and then Sannyas mantra.
And then he's asking, how many different pictures of Srila Gaura Kishore Bhakti Maharaj exist?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe only one. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Alright. Thank you.
Hari Bol.